Welcome students. We'll move on to the next module, that is the getting connected. That is module number 2 in according to the syllabus. Now, what actually the goal of this particular thing? Before going to this, now what are the problems, disadvantages will be there in previous chapter which we have observed, that we will see. In chapter 1 we saw networks consists of links interconnecting nodes. How to connect two nodes together? This is a question mark arises. So how we can connect these two nodes and how a medium will be connected to which that medium will be connected, and how a bits will be transferred from one system to the another system. So that is the one thing which is pending, which we have to see now. Then we also introduce the concept of a cloud, which we have seen in a last chapter. Abstractions to the present a network without realizing its internal complexities. How connect a host to a cloud? That means, for example, if I want to connect to an internet, my individual system, how it can be connected to an internet, which will be in a cloud, that means which is a mixture of the heterogeneous networks. Then how this thing means the packets means the data from my particular system will be moved to that vast internet cloud. So these two important things which we are going to take in this particular unit. Now what is the outline of this particular unit? That is perspectives on connecting nodes. How a two nodes or a two devices will be connected. Then encoding, how a data which has to be sent, that is zeros and ones which has to be sent, how it will be encoding. Coming to the next, we will see how a framing will be done. That is, in OSI reference model, which we have discussed, that the data link layer, which is a host to host communication, which will be the held responsible to collect all the bits which has been sent from the physical layer, and it will combine all that, aggregate all that particular zeros and ones, and it will make a frame. Now how this framing will be done, we will see. And then other work of a data link layer is error detection and error correction. Now how this error detection will be done, and how this error correction will be done, what are the different algorithms will be there in error detection and error connection, we are going to see. Then what do you mean by reliable transmission? What do you mean by reliable transmission? That is, either the frames whatever you are sending from one host to another host, it's going correctly, either some frame is missed. If one frame has an error, say detection has been done that this particular frame having an error, then how the retransmission of the frame will be done, that is called as a reliable transmission, that we are going to see in this particular unit. And then we'll see how Ethernet and MAC, these multiple access networks, will work, means how LAN connections will be done, and then how the wireless networks will work, we are going to see in this particular model. Now coming to the goal of this particular chapter or a model, after discussing all these things, what we are going to get here, that is exploring a different communication media over which we can send a data. That is, how we can send a data, how a medium will work, how many types of different mediums are there which we can send a data. First we will see that. Then how the bits, whatever the bits we are sending from one host to the another host, how it will be encoding of the bits will be done, and then how it will be sent through the medium, and how at the receiver end this encoding bits will be taken into the consideration. So that we are going to study. Coming to the next, discussing the matter of the delightening the sequence of the bits transmitted over the link into the complete messages that can be delivered to the end node. That means how the bits, the sequence of the bits which is going in a sequence, it has to go and it should form a frame in a end system. So end node, how it will collect all this particular bits and how it will make a frame, what it will be the starting point of of an frame and what will be the ending point of an frame, we are going to get here. Then how frames will be made and how frames will be made both in a sender side and as well as on a receiver side. Coming to the next thing, the discussing different techniques to detect the transmission errors. So how a transmission errors will be detected, that means whether this particular frame is having an error or not. So here we are going to see different algorithms or different techniques which will detect the transmission errors, like parity bit check, and then CRC is another one which is there to detect the errors. Rather than another one thing is here, the main code, the lab program. Here how the correction of the bits will also be done, that we will discuss apart from the syllabus. Coming to the next thing, we are going to discuss how reliable transmission will be done. That means either the frame moved correctly in a sequence, the bits are there in a frame, and either the frame has been moved correctly from the one host to the another host. If some errors are there detected in that particular frame, that frame will be dropped by the receiver, and how a retransmission of the frames will be done. So how a acknowledgement process will be done from the receiver node to the sender node, then how sender node it will take, and how many frames can be sent according to the bandwidth of the that particular connection or a medium. That we are going to discuss here, how a reliable transmission can be done. Then we will go with on a MAC layer, that is introducing a media access control, how a media access control will be done between two systems, and how a traffic can be maintained between these two hosts. Then we are going to have an introduction on a carrier sensing multiple access, that is CSMA networks, how this multiple access sensing will be done. What do you mean by multiple access sensing will be done? Assume that different types of data will be there, and it has to be communicated from one system to the different other systems which will pass in a single medium. Then how this carrier sensing will be done, and how a separation of this particular thing will be done, which we are going to discuss. All these are the goals or an objective of this particular chapter. After completion of this particular chapter, you will learn all these objectives. Coming to now, how the prescriptives on connecting. See, observe this particular diagram here. Assume that the different hosts are there, and ISP provider is there. In general, I will tell you like this. Assume our BMSIT network is there, and for us the internet service provider is a Convergent India Private Limited. Okay, for a Convergent India Private Limited, we are not only the customer, and different other customers will also be there for this particular internet service provider. That we have to keep in your mind. Assume that our BMSIT connection will be there. We are connected to one particular router. That means a large network, whatever is there, which has been distributed in our college, will be sending through one particular router from an ISP, that is internet service provider, where a unique identification will be there for that particular node. Like this, for a different customers, routers will be maintained from the ISP provider. So all these routers, whatever will be there, it will be maintained, and one edge router will be there. What is this edge? Work of an edge router. The different routers of a customers, means different customers of a Convergent will be there. They are going to connect to that particular main edge router. From main edge router, it will be distributed to the internet. Best example we will take now. Assume that I am going to sit in college in our MCA lab, and I want to open my Gmail account. I will type www.gmail.com. That means I should connect to the Gmail servers via public internet. Here, how I will connect? First, the connection will move to our router. Means in a data center, one router will be provided by an internet service provider. There it will go, and that router will be a part of the network of that particular ISP provider. That means this ISP provider will have in a different routers with a different customers in around the Bangalore or around the Karnataka state. Now all this it will go via, means which way it can go, it will go and it will go to the main router of that particular ISP provider. There once it has been checked, yes, this is our customer, he is having a relevant connection is there and he has paid all our fees, everything. Once it has been checked correctly, then what it will do, that our router packets whatever will be there from the edge router, it will move to the public internet. So once rest of the internet